greatest thing that happened to me was at 18, wrestling the person who I based my style on and was one of my heroes, Pete Roberts, at 18, wrestling him. And I sat down afterward. He made me look 1,000 times better than I should have done. He was the pros pro of all pros in Europe and in Japan. People hold him in high regard in Japan, the older wrestlers there. The Kidos and the Fujinamis and the people like that, and Mr. Inoki, they all held Pete Roberts in really high esteem. Well, Pete took a liking to me and was incredibly helpful, but I wrestled him at 18 and I based a lot of my style on him because once I got to be an international heavyweight style, well, Pete gave me a mindset. I thought he was going to give me all kinds of wisdom, and he did. It was the best advice I ever got to this day, and I'm still trying to work on it. And I still say to people all the time, and I tell them, look, you should be working on this till you long past your career, if you don't start buying into your own BS. Because unfortunately, a lot of people start buying into their own nonsense and then think they know everything. You don't. I'm still learning every day, you know. And Mr. McMahon says that, and I'm not trying to say I copy Mr. McMahon, but when I've heard him say that, that's how I think about wrestling. But he's every day is the first day on the job, right? It's right. Let's do that. And so, but Pete Roberts put this into me at 18. So I'm wrestling somebody who I didn't think I had any right to be in the ring with on a show. And then I said, Mr. Roberts, have you got any advice for me? And he said, it's two things. And I've put these out in different forms for years. Number one, make everything you do mean something, else don't bother doing it. And that's basically try to make sense of, because in wrestling, we have to make logic out of an illogical business. Makes no sense if you think about it. But he said, try to do that. He said, you'll be working on that forever. So when we go back to all these things tying together, right? When you go back to the pins, yeah, make everything you do mean something else, don't bother doing it. What's the point of doing a pin if it's not going to try to beat somebody?
Sure.
Right. It's just one little thing, right? But that was what he said to me. And he explained it. Look, certain things of doing that may get into a bit. We get into some of that in later on. And the second thing he told me, and this is all in the same 5 minutes that he gave me. He said, every single night that you walk through the curtain, never assume that anybody knows who you are. And so I said, because I was 18, do you mind explaining that to me? He said, well, every single night, he said, could be a new person watching you, or he said, what do you do? He added to, he said, what do you do on you? He said, you're young in your career. What do you do when you go out there and like your first night for any, well, you do everything the best you can do. So he said, keep doing that. Just stop before you go through the curtain, right? And then he gave me a little explanation. How do they know that you're a wrestler? First of all, just the way you walk to the ring, do you show that you're an actual fighter? Do you look at your opponent like you're actually trying to beat them? Do you think like you're trying to beat them? Do you just take for granted that they're going to boo you if you're supposed to be a villain? Do you take for granted that they're going to like you if you're supposed to be a blue eye, which was British talk for a baby face? Don't take anything for granted, and then you'll do your best to show why people should care about you, is basically what he was saying. And that was two incredible mindsets to get at 18. Now, I was nowhere near ready to be able to pull them off yet, and I'm still trying to work on it. Because I'm still, it's nearly 9 years since I had my last match, and I'm still kicking myself up the backside thinking, why didn't I do that when I was wrestling? And I'm right. So I can help people with mindsets with stuff. So all these fellas here, we were talking about, that they were all good lads, and they had a really good match. It was a short match. It was a good match.